This will probably be the most dramatic and possibly hilarious video journal so far. So, to fill everybody in who's not aware, I've been traveling around Australia. It's probably been 3,000 plus kilometers, actually probably close to 4,000 kilometers from my destination where it all began at the Gold Coast. And I've been up and down the coast as well. So I've done probably 10,000 kilometers in the last month or two. And I've been doing trainings and I've been doing all this stuff that I haven't documented any of that stuff. But the part of the story that we're up to, because I stopped documenting for a bit, just to focus on my healing and my growth and my journey, and not feeling this story time stuff sort of puts me in a different headspace, puts me in headspace, takes me out of the flow. But I'm coming back and trying to walk the path between headspace and flow, and just like document what I'm thinking and feeling without putting too much on it. So yeah, fucking huge journey. Let's get to the funny bits, eh? So I've been talking it up like, oh yeah, I'm just fucking come whatever may sort of attitude, like not scared of anything. Down to my last tin of baked beans and got a litre of water left, and this is the last place to get petrol, to get diesel before the next 300 kilometers. And I've gone the hardest possible way to, I'm heading to Darwin, Northern Territory. There's just nothing out that way. The population of the towns was getting down to 600, 200, like nothing there. And and I come on the weekend too, so Saturdays and everything was closed on Sunday. So I had fucking nowhere to go, like for water or food or even fuel, so I didn't plan anything. I just started driving, and I was like, oh yeah, first Woolworths I see, or first like supermarket that I see, I'll get all the essentials. I saw the first supermarket today, and I have 300 kilometers of the journey left, and from now on there's towns and cities, or I don't even know if they have cities in Darwin, but there's places that have supermarkets, petrol stations, camping shops. They have auto repair places. They've got all that stuff, but I haven't had that for the entire trip. I have had nothing, and I was really roughing it. I was, and that's what I wanted. That's what I asked for. But this whole video, I guess, is be careful what you wish for kind of video. So I get to this place, Hell's Gate. That was my last place. And I was expecting this like big BP servo, like a big service station with a Macca's and a fucking or like at least like a restaurant, and like coffee and drink fridges, like the kind of thing that you expect at a service station in Australia. I was like, yeah, surely this last place before there's nothing, it will be kitted out and they'll be able to hook you up with everything that you need. This last place, it's the last place forever. Like they're gonna have to have stuff. When I get there, this place called Hell's Gate, petrol costs, or diesel fuel for, I keep fumbling that because it's the international audience, and I'm like, yeah, petrol, diesel, fuel, it's all, I'm just saying the stuff that makes the car go. It cost like double there. And then I was like, do you guys have any water? Because it wasn't clear really. They had like a shelf of like one item of each thing, like a tin of baked beans and a bottle of water hot, and like just like some Vegemite and like just the weirdest shit. And I was like, do you have any cold water? And she's like, yeah, but we've only got the little bottles, like 600 mils. I was like, okay. Yeah, I'm just desperate for something that doesn't taste like a hot cup of tea. Like all the water in the car is like pretty much boiling. I'm boiling. I just like would appreciate that. And she comes back and she goes, we've only got one 600 ml bottle of cold water. And I was like, I better take some hot ones then. So that was my last place where I thought I was going to get hooked up with everything. So I was still on my one tin of baked beans. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll grab a tin here. But then I decided I'm just going to get through this. I'm going to get to the next place. And the next place is going to, like, it's ages away. Like there's a huge, like the sign says next fuel is 320 kilometers away. So I'm like, fuck. the next one's got to be decent. Like that, surely on the other side of Hell's Gate through this hell is going to be everything that I need is going to be there. And I've been doing this already the entire drive. That's what I've been telling myself. Oh, there'll be a Woolies, like there'll be a major hub eventually. And I just kept saying soon, soon, soon. And then, like I said, soon became 300 kilometers down the road from my destination. And I didn't have anything the entire time. I'm lucky to be alive, probably. But yeah, so Hell's Gate, and I was told myself maybe it's called that because it's this side's hell. It's really hot, but I was wrong. So I get to the Northern Territory border. There's like two dudes there in camp chairs. They're surprised to see a human being. They're like, people don't come through here. This is not the way to the Northern Territory. And I was like, surely. And there was a police officer and a military fella, just two fellas, and they were real chill because they were just bored, I guess. And I was like, enjoy the rest of your day. And they're like, this is it. 12 hours of this. We'll just be sitting here. I was like, all right then. And yeah, fuck. The copper, he kind of looked at me like, and he said, you got a long drive ahead of you. And he kind of had this sort of thing to him where I was like, oh, yeah, I know it's going to be a long drive, but it sounded like it's going to be harder and longer than I'm thinking it's going to be. So into hell we go. I don't know what the place is actually called. I don't think it has a name. Nobody lives there except probably the traditional owners, because yeah, there's none of the modern world on the other side of Hell's Gate for ages. So I'm driving through, and it's actually 320 kilometers of a four-wheel drive track, complete with creek crossings where I'm lucky I was driving this thing. Lock the hubs in, chuck it in four-wheel drive. And the first one that I came up to, I was just cruising along, like when you're driving on a highway, it's a dirt road and you got to be more vigilant on there, but I wasn't that vigilant. I'm just cruising along. It's a highway. It's the national highway. That's what I was like, it's going to be safe. It's going to be okay. This is the way that you get to the Northern Territory. And I hit some soft sand and I'm like fishtailing, and I spin out and I stop. And in front of me is the first creek crossing. I didn't know that I was going to be driving through running water, and like deep running water. Like any other car wouldn't have made it through. This has got a snorkel on it and everything. Just lucky that this is the vehicle that I chose. And I always could have turned around. That's the big lesson in this. Like, I didn't have to go the hard way. I didn't have to keep pushing myself into more and more difficulty. I even had a choice at one point where I looked at the map and I saw that there was Mount Isa was like in the other direction. I could have gone there. It had all the supermarket, everything that I needed, but I just went, nah, I'll go the hard way. I'll go the quick way. It's impatience. Like, I'm learning patience. I'm learning to do things for myself to make life easier, because choosing the difficult way all the time, I've been shown, is really hurting me. And we'll get to that in a second. I hope that's not a car coming up, because I'm really enjoying this. So, not that a car coming up would stop me from journaling. I could just keep talking, and I feel weird, like you want to connect with a human being when they're in front of you, especially when everybody's always in their screens. It's not weird for anyone else, I guess. So yeah, that's all the stuff that I was learning, but I didn't learn, and spun out. Then I'm looking at the water and I was like, I walked through it. I went back, I locked the hubs in, and then I think this car is going to come up here. I'll finish this story later.